That must have been exciting for him.
Well, I'm sure it was a very exciting period, and he wrote, I went back not long ago, we're getting now to the point of like 50 years of the organic movement in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So if organic gardening and farming started in 1942, by 1992 it would be 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and I knew he had written about organic farming in Fact Digest before organic gardening.
Oh, really?
And I thought it was several years before, but actually it was only several months. It was a two-part article in January, February, and the February issue, 1942. He introduced to Americans the idea of organic farming.
In Fact
In a
Digest.
magazine called Fact Digest.
Okay.
And it was, that was like his pure thinking there, and it was from a health perspective. He said,
Mm-hmm.
the American food system is pesticide residues, too much artificial fertilizer, too much soil erosion, and too much processing. And he said, if we're going to be healthy, we're going to have to invent a different way to grow and produce and process our food. Then I don't know what the reaction to those articles was. I still think there may have been an earlier one somewhere. I haven't given up.
Earlier than 42.
Earlier than 42.
I wonder if we have that at the NAL. I'll have to check.
Well, I doubt if you have these are magazines that were printed on newsprint kind of stuff, and but I know he read Sir Albert Howard's book sometime in the 30s,
Mm-hmm.
the late 30s, so he might have reviewed it. But anyway, he started the magazine in May of 1942,
Mm-hmm.
but his idea was to talk to farmers. He conceived it as a farm magazine, and I'm telling you this in the context of your question about gardening.
Yes.
Was he really a gardener? And he, at a number of times in his life, did gardening and had gardens, but he never saw gardening as like the center stage of this idea.
Would you say that he saw more of the whole picture?
Not the way we would define the whole. Today we're really looking at the whole system of, we're very systems oriented, everything connected to the farm, including the job that the farmer's wife
Mm-hmm.
or the kids have off the farm and everything. He wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking about the whole health picture,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you get food produced that would serve people's health needs. And he felt he had to convince farmers to change from what was then the conventional system to an organic system. And he called the magazine Organic Farming. I should know for sure. I guess there was "and gardening" in there. But he printed 10,000 copies and sent it to 10,000 rural route box holders and asked them to send him $1 for subscription. And he got back $10, so...
Not a very good return.
Yeah. So he kind of regrouped and emphasized gardening. He changed the name then to Organic Gardening and Farming, and kind of caught the wave of the Victory Garden movement.
Mm-hmm.
Which really launched the magazine. But the people, it's a very interesting story. My father was Jewish, and he had to hire an editor. And this was like the depths of World War II. He went out and hired a German man.
Really?
He was a professor of German at Muhlenberg. His name was Heinrich Meyer.
At Muhlenberg?
Muhlenberg College in Allentown,
Uh-huh.
who was cut loose from the academic system because he was German. He
Sure.
talked with a German accent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Had a German name.
German name. He was a really nice guy, you know. But it was this explains my father's character.
I mean, it was typical of
Yeah.
your father to do something like that. Yes, I can see that.
Because he, you know, they didn't know about the Holocaust, but they knew about Zionism and so forth, and they knew there was persecution going on. So, but Heinrich was he was a committed gardener, and he really played a tremendous role in the magazine. Said, first of all, you know, we got a war on, we got to grow food here in America, and we got this victory garden movement, so you should really tell in organic gardening people how to garden. My father's idea was organic gardening as a health magazine and about how to not use pesticides and so forth. And so there was a little bit of friction there.
I was going to ask you how well they worked together.
Well, they always got along together well, but Heinrich really established the magazine as a garden magazine, and he didn't quite agree. I remember them having arguments about fertility, like Heinrich knew German chemistry, and he says, what about potash? He never would quite give up on potash. He said, you'll never get enough potash organically. But they sort of worked it all out. And then, of course, after the war, he went back into teaching again. And I don't know if he's still alive, but occasionally I get, till maybe a year ago, I got a letter from Heinrich Meyer after all these years. But I remember my father saying many times to me, see, I spent a lot of time in the war working on the farm and working in the garden.